Welcome to Here's to Your Health with Joshua Lane. Here's to Your Health discusses the current thinking in wellness, bringing you the most influential thinkers in beauty, fitness, and longevity. Your host, Joshua Lane, was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that helped bring wheatgrass sprouts and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health, Joshua Lane.
Welcome to this edition of Here's to Your Health. I'm your host, Josh Lane. Now, the topic is an important topic which we're all concerned about, and it's how do we maintain our emotional equilibrium using nutrition, improved nutrition, in these very difficult times of pandemic, going on for 2 years and more, war in Europe, and terrible problems with the weather in California and in Florida and in South Carolina. So there's a lot on our plates as adults and even as youth. And so the question is, what can we do now when we're talking about well-being? Can we use nutrition to be helpful? And can we use aloe vera? And our guest is a regular contributor to the show, Karen Masterson-Cook. And Karen Masterson-Cook is a clinical nutritionist. She's a health educator, author of a book which I very much enjoy and which I recommend called Beyond Gluten Intolerance. And Karen literally has over 40 years of clinical experience as a clinical nutritionist. So it's a great pleasure to have Karen Masterson-Cook on the show. Karen, thanks for your time.
Oh, Josh, thank you so much for that warm welcome. And seriously, talking about mental health was actually my idea.
Yes.
Because the topic today is just so much needed to really remind all of us, including ourselves, right, of underlining what works and some new facts about what the body needs to maintain mental wellness. And Aloe Life products is a wonderful way to, like a shortcut. So that's how the Aloe Life comes into the topic. And the book you mentioned, Beyond Gluten Intolerance, has a wonderful section. Chapter 6, it's discounted, for all the listeners off their website. I mean, it's half price, $12. I mean, it's 700 pages. It's a nutrition and health book that really underlines the how-to on over 80 conditions. So, again, it's a huge topic, mental wellness. Talking about health today is important, Josh, since all disease in our country is on the rise, including mental illness, has almost doubled from the latest statistics. It's not talked about enough, and I think people feel isolated, but it is the number one health challenge increasing over the last 40 years. I mean, I've been in counseling as a clinical nutritionist in 4 different clinics for over 40 years, friends, and it's been increasing mental illness because people keep getting it wrong, and definitely the mainstream psychiatrists and psychologists until now. There's definitely some that have gone the orthomolecular route, but have not been using nutrition and health, which is foundational. It's a disease. Mental illness is a disease, just like diabetes and cardiovascular disease in the U.S. and many countries. And it's directly linked to several factors that can be addressed to feel good again, that work. And that's why we're doing the show.
Right.
It's just like the tough study that I bring up so often because it's the largest study on healthy living. It was done with 77,000 doctors and nurses, and what they found, whether it's mental illness or any of the physical maladies that we're having, like, oh my goodness, it's like 200 different diseases now. Autoimmune, has spiked. But it's people not eating food. They're not eating food. They're not eating healthy foods. Only 14% of Americans are really, truly metabolically sound. And poor digestion was second from Tufts with low hydrochloric acid. Yes, they didn't say enzymes. Okay, so low hydrochloric acid, which you, by the way, you get when you drink the Aloe Life products. You get that digestive system really, really starting to work better and better. And then lowering toxicity. They found from every area toxicity was problematic in causing more disease, definitely from the environment. We have outside stressors, toxic body, inside stressors. We make our own toxic byproducts when we don't eat well. We stay constipated, all these different areas. And pharmaceutical drugs, I mean, the average 60-year-old takes 6 or more drugs, and they are actually responsible for the third reason of death in our people. Don't you love it that I'm a statistician?
Well,
I follow research.
right.
But honestly, people need to heal. And I truly believe once people understand the brain's needs for the same nutrition and health support that the whole body requires, but even more critically, because it runs the body through the glands and the nervous system as a pilot of the plane, then perhaps I think more of you will follow the suggestions I'll be sharing to have a sharper functioning brain. We all want that. That's more balanced and happier, even during these wild roller coaster times. Doesn't
Yes.
that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, actually, it really, obviously it's comprehensive, and it does sound like a good idea. And also, I would say that more and more, the information that our guest is Karen Masterson Cook, the founder, clinical nutritionist with Aloe, which in my opinion has the best and most potent, richest in mucopolysaccharides, which is why you buy Aloe. So I really happen to personally use and enjoy the Aloe Life products. But I think some people might be somewhat surprised to hear that problems with fatigue or depression or confusion or, much of it is nutritional. Human beings are complicated. It's not all nutrition. I wish it was, but it's not all nutrition. But nutrition is a very big factor. If you have a person, unfortunately, who's busy eating lots and lots of processed food and processed Coca-Cola and all that other kind of stuff, well, that person is just going to be less healthy and function less successfully. And again, the past several years has been so traumatic for everyone around the world. After all, China lockdown, and just quite unbelievable, the social isolation, the loss of income, the closing of 1 million small businesses in the United States without compensation, without due process. I mean, it's a pretty difficult time right now. Now, when people use aloe, one thing I like about aloe, of course, is, on more of a lighthearted topic, it's great for skin, and it's used for beauty in the skin, but also it's great for digestion, and anyone problems with gastric distress, bloating, etc., not moving their bowels, when they use the Aloe Life products, that helps, and right away.
I couldn't have said it better myself, my friend.
Yeah.
You've learned so much about a therapeutic aloe like Aloe Life, because they're all different, friends, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But, and I love it. I love it because we want you to be excited, because it really, really gets results, okay, on the topic today and so many other things. So it really underlines, these studies that I just want to share with you briefly, underlines the problem that we all need to get back on track. If you know what to do, so many people I work with in clinic and just now on the phone and such, they know what to do, but they just needed a reminder to get back on track. But people who don't know how important it is, it's going to save your life, okay? It builds your life. It's going to save your life, to improve your life and build up the body's health preventatively, even if you're not suffering from the common anxiety. These are the top psychoses, diagnoses: anxiety, depression, anger outbursts, and bipolar, where people really go, like they have a split personality. They get these triggers of poor diet, too much sugar, cow's milk, these whole grains. I was wrong, okay? I started spreading the lie that we needed to eat whole grains to build a whole body. Wrong. Fiber is a very problematic ingredient into the human digestive system. It sends up inflammation. But applying these principles of a low-gluten diet, low-inflammatory diet, and some of the key supplements, you're going to find that you're going to have a healthier body and mind, better digestion, healthier energy, as Josh was saying, linked to better blood sugar. There's 9 studies that show when you drink a quality product like Aloe Life, you stabilize your blood sugar. So if you're into pre-diabetic or diabetes, you're going to be in for a real surprise. Many people, they lower their medication or don't have to get on medication. And definitely any kind of medication, when you don't have the deficiencies in the body anymore, you don't need so many of these strong and dangerous pharmaceutical drugs given so often too much and not really addressing the problem. They're more like a Band-Aid, temporarily, okay. But you'll have stronger and more balanced immunity. And these autoimmunity diseases, 130 now, have been really behind the weakening of the disease, and really cutting short for people younger and younger. John Hopkins went on to say 70% of adults are obese now, 20% children, and this obesity has been driving up the diseases, friends. So losing weight is going to be easier when you get on this program. It rebalances the body so it can burn the excess calories, because number one, you're going to find out is exercise and the diet, the healthier diet. But it can take a little while. But mental illness has doubled. This came from the Center of Disease Control. No, the American Psychological Association Harris poll in 2020 said we are facing a national mental health crisis right now. So I'm laughing, but I know how serious it is, and damaging and splitting up families and taking people's lives. You know, unfortunately, more suicides. So we want to catch people when they need it, and that is now. They're ringing the bell. Okay, this is why our own government had a conference last week on what we're going to do about getting our physicians more educated about health. How about that? Even the conversation is really exciting. But then lastly, the Center of Disease Control said two things. Yes, children's diseases are up, so don't forget the kids. So they need everything you need. And I know that with the economy we're cutting back, but smaller amounts of good foods, you know, and the supplements are extensions of foods will really, really go so far. Like with the aloe, the greens, you know, they're cheaper than buying the vegetables, and the fish oils, it's brain food, and the D-complex and B12. But what they're saying right now, where we're at, is that American life expectancy has now declined for the first time since the 1970s. Right. That was a punch to the gut, Josh, for me. Right. I'm just saying, we have a heart for every one of you, and ourselves, our friends, and, you know, family. You know, it's a sad situation that people, and without guidance from educated doctors and psychiatrists, they haven't been using food therapeutically. And it should be the first place they start. Okay, exactly. In fact, Michael Lesser, he's an orthomolecular psychiatrist from San Francisco. He actually accentuated in his practice, and I wrote about him in my book, Beyond Gluten Intolerance, that his patients, 90% of all of their symptoms went away when he got them on the low blood sugar diet, hypoglycemic diet. 90%
Wow.
of their anxiety, their depression, and their bipolar went away when he got them on a diet very similar to what I'm talking about here, with protein 6 times a day to balance the blood sugar. Okay, it's a roller coaster. People get so depressed. You might be on the caffeine or the alcohol because it's a stimulant, but when it goes through your system, then it's a depressant, and everything is 10 times worse. So again, understanding, accent the positive, and you will feel better, better, and better. And the article we have for all of you, Food for Thought, Improving Mental Health, will review the 7 most important healthy factors in getting well again and feeling good again. Yes, they're called 7 key brain health factors. And we've been covering them, like hydration, you know, things you know, but you're not doing. Make sure you have your electrolytes, okay, including potassium, which is a brain mineral. Exercise and nutrition, and limit the allergens and the junk food and all that. It's kind of like basic. But did you know more people eat pizza, ice cream than any other food through the grocery stores?
Our guest is Karen Masterson Cook, and Karen is a regular contributor to the show. And Karen is the author of a book I very much have enjoyed reading, which I recommend, called Beyond Gluten Intolerance. And Karen actually is a clinical nutritionist and the founder and the formulator of Aloe Life. The aloe, now we all know that aloe is very good for us, and people think, oh yeah, we like aloe. But the Aloe Life, in my opinion, I've used a bunch of different brands, and the Aloe Life is the richest in the mucopolysaccharides, the active ingredient, based on what I know, and I've used it very successfully, and I'm very happy to recommend it. And again, Karen is a regular contributor to the show, and I'm very proud of that. Karen, you have also, besides, you've been in the profession of wellness for more than 40 years, and you counsel a lot of people. And so What have you found about brain and body health and lessening their symptoms using aloe? I mean, how does that work to make us feel better?
So that's $1 million question, all righty. And when you study the aloe plant like I have, again, it was the biggest surprise 33 years ago to find out it really does have this much ability foundationally to actually renew the entire body from top to bottom to inside and out. I actually thought people were saying more than like that it helps the immune system and such. I knew it could help digestion and diverticulitis, but I honestly did not know two things: that there's a big difference in aloe. Okay, some of them are just like water. If they taste like water and they don't get you don't get the results, they're not a quality aloe, and they're not aloe.
Mm-hmm.
Big problem
Right.
in aloe
Right.
is adulteration. So Aloe Life is a therapeutic aloe. It actually not only is the real deal, it is concentrated, 4.5 times. So you get this therapeutic result, and it's an herbal bitter. It's an ancient herbal bitter, oftentimes referred to as an herbal medicine chest. And the skin plant, it's just amazing how it renews the body. But it does that because it's loaded with active nutritionals. It has over 100 actives that are trace minerals that help the blood sugar, little bits of amino acids, and proteins and vitamins, but also 25 different phytonutrients that lower inflammation, number one. So when we have all of our major diseases, including mental illness, are actually into the category of inflammatory disease, autoimmune disease. Yes. And so when you lower the inflammation in the brain, all of a sudden you feel better, and they're called sterols. And it helps with allergies. It helps with joint pain. It's incredible for the support that it gives the body to balance these overreactive immunity that actually is tied to the IBS and the advanced bowel disease, which also, again, has 130 different autoimmune diseases now, including diabetes and, the neuromuscular diseases like Parkinson's, MS, and on and on and on. So that's where it's just an amazing miracle plant. And it also has the ability to stimulate new cells. So when you have the damage that is caused by inflammation, it actually has a growth factor called gibberellins that helps the villi in the small intestine regrow. And then you start absorbing your food, and the research is phenomenal. You actually absorb your protein and all of your foods, your vitamin C, which helps to stabilize blood sugar through the adrenal glands, and also all the glands, the thyroid gland, which you've got the Hashimoto's, autoimmune disease, and all of the different glands and sex glands and the liver. They get regenerated, through growth factor and vitamin E. So the bioavailability showed that when you take an ounce of a quality product like Aloe Life, you get 200% more of your vitamin C that's important for balancing blood sugar, as this psychiatrist, Michael Lesser, and my own work has shown really, really helps. Right away, you start feeling better, able to think. And then you add the essential fatty acids, which are brain food too. Our brain needs water, and it needs these essential fats that we don't get from all the corn oils and the different, even avocado oil has too much inflammatory oils in it. We need the omega-3s to balance the 6s and 9s. So it gets a little bit more in the chemistry. But you know what? If you're interested, the big book goes into that. And kids that are hyperactive, and so much of the autistic children that aren't functioning at a higher level begin to be able to calm down. Adults calm down with the anxiety. The depression lifts. I mean, definitely behavior modification is needed too. And, when you're depressed, you need to express.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about how the physical, the body-mind experience, that relationship that was termed back in the 60s by Norman Cousins and then turned into actually a study, of neuromuscular immunology. And, it's just, it really works, friends. It's so wonderful. So the aloe is the first choice along with exercise and starting to eat a better diet. You've got to have the protein, a variety of proteins. Stop making up your own rules. The people who have the worst problems and more autoimmune conditions, such as mental illness, I'm going to let you know, it's vegans. And I was one for a while, Josh, and it causes so much inflammation, and the digestive system goes down, you get more constipation. And Aloe Life has incredible 17 products that address each of these weaknesses. The Fibermate has the probiotics that works with this other amazing system in the small intestine called the butyric acid cycle. And it's the researchers that I get to talk to, I'm so excited. I know them from Japan, Dr. Yagi and Dr. Yu from Korea. They found that you regenerate and you rebalance along with taking some supplements to speed it up. But internally, if you eat the vegetables and the nuts and seeds and that type of fiber, not oat fiber, not bran fiber, and not the psyllium fiber. We were wrong on that, friends. That causes inflammation. But if you eat your vegetables, about 75% vegetables on your plate and 25% protein, it could be fish, it could be turkey, chicken, it can be lentils, it can be avocado. Broccoli has 6 grams of protein in a cup. I mean, you want that variety of proteins, and don't overcook it. When you kill your protein, overcooking meat, then you kill it. But the Mediterranean diet, friends, has definitely been the regenerative diet. Sometimes people have to, because they've hurt themselves so much, reduce it down to the paleo diet, which just is no carbohydrates other than vegetables and your proteins. And then the Aloe Life. I mean, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people, and they say, well, how long does it take? I said, for me, it took 5 minutes. They're like,
Nice.
no. And it's like, truly, you can feel the effect of the aloe, the nutrients feeding the body. If you're in like a chronic state, it gets to work quickly to lower the inflammation and feed the body. And then as you stay on the product for 45 to 90 days, you allow it to build new lining cells. And then in 3 months, the 45 to 90 days, that's what I just am suggesting, that you give it the products a chance so you feel good again. Isn't that exciting?
It is actually very exciting, and I actually, on a personal level, know how nicely the Aloe Life aloe vera products work for me, and for others. I know many people who use them successfully. That's why I'm very happy to have Karen Masterson-Cook on the show. Karen is the CEO of Aloe Life, a clinical nutritionist, author of a book I like called Beyond Gluten Intolerance, which we talk about on the show because it's just a real nice book, and it's easy to read, gives you a lot of information. Karen, you mentioned that the Aloe Life, the aloe vera is an herbal bitters, and it has more than 100 actives. So for the listeners, some of them they might be familiar with some of the ideas you offered. I'm sure others are new, but the idea of an herbal bitters, that's an idea that most people don't understand. What makes aloe vera an herbal bitter?
Such a good question, Josh. And again, it's not always easy when you know a lot. I had Dr. Virginia Livingston say, you'll walk around here at the clinic where we saw so many cancer patients reverse cancer, like you think you know something. Well, I do have the confidence.
Right.
And your question is so good about herbal bitters. But see, why we need the help is because people over the hundreds of years of this country and even beyond in Europe and such, they eat so many carbohydrates, that they use up their B complex. And B complex, I didn't want to leave that out of the key brain supplements because it's number one. It's hard to, really prioritize because they're all important. There's 91 nutrients in the body we die without. But B complex is the metabolizer of the brain and behind all the systems, and B12. So B12 shots, B12 sublingual, definitely known for mental wellness. Really works. It's important for the health of the brain and nervous system. So all of these different nutrients work. But when we talk about bitters, we can't absorb these bitters without hydrochloric acid in the stomach. So herbal bitters, Aloe Life being the king of herbal bitters. There's different bitters, Golden Field's bitter, but I wouldn't want to take that every day. It's so bitter. But it does work, but it's more of an antiviral, and it doesn't have all these other attributes to really detoxify the liver and rebuild the body through these key nutrients. But even by itself, it makes SOD. stimulates SOD, superoxide dismutase, which makes us younger, and that means younger cells, younger looking, younger, useful. Okay, so an herbal bitter on the tongue, sweet on the stomach. It stimulates this very valuable hydrochloric acid that Tufts University found in their 30-year study on healthy living is what reversed disease. So there's so much research to support everything that I'm sharing with you today, and the results happen just as I'm saying. If you've been on enzymes, okay, take them, but definitely drop the capsules. All the gelatin is just like gluten because of the structure. It's all about the structure that we can't break down with the weaker digestive system that has really developed over years, okay, of people not eating properly and not absorbing. Some people are working 2 jobs and they don't have time. So the shortcuts are really important. The herbal bitter gets the digestion, and then the eggs you eat, the fruits you eat in the morning, your daily greens will be absorbed, and then it gets to work in minutes. That's what's so cool. You feel it, and I never get tired of people saying, I think I feel better. And it's like, yeah.
Karen, I have a question for you. I have a question. Our guest is Karen Masterson-Cook, the founder, the formulator for Aloe Life, and the author of a book, which I like very much, called Beyond Gluten Intolerance. Karen, the Aloe Gold is possibly the flagship product from Aloe Life. And when I use Aloe Gold, as a mature man, how much should I start with, and how often should I use the Aloe Gold?
Well, definitely, it's an ounce a day, which is so costly. It's the best buy in all aloes. It's like it costs a little bit more because it's concentrated. Every quart has 25 pounds of leaves, and the science to be able to actually low heat remove water to where we have all these wonderful phytonutrients that do all of these things. That, it's not just one thing doing it all, but the herbal bitters is so important. For first step is to get the digestion of your core nutrients that build the divine design. So it's 1 to 2 ounces, based on body size. And with people having heavier, structures right now, you might need 2 ounces. But I wouldn't go any higher. Make sure your bowels are moving. That's where the FiberMate product or the greens that we're really promoting in the shortcut, because people aren't eating enough vegetables. And the vegetables is where all the vitamins and minerals are. And also, in our greens, it's the #1 green, friends. And we're talking about out of 40 superfoods and herbs, that aloe is number 6 this year. CBD knocked it down 1. But CBD, it's because there's so much mental illness and people feeling just, really stressed for all the right reasons. But we need to overcome those. We need to get the exercise and get the pleasure hormones going and get the diet going. And then these cortisols are going to come down, and you're going to get the pleasure hormones. And the protein is needed. People undereat in protein. And so once you start getting your protein needs up to 50 to 60 grams a day.
Our guest is Karen Masterson-Cook, the founder, formulator for Aloe Life. Karen, we have about a minute left. How can listeners of Here's to Your Health contact you to find out more about the Aloe Gold, the Skin Gel, all the Aloe Life products that I like so much? Where can we contact you directly?
Okay, you can get the products that are so important, the shortcut, Aloe Gold, and the Daily Greens, and any of the other ones by calling 1-800-414-2563. That's 1-800-414-ALOE. And talk to any of our wonderful, nice, and incredible staff on the phones. Leave a message, or go to our website, www.aloelife.com. That's aloelife.com, and go to the education, and you'll be able to actually go through the articles that we have, like the one that really describes what you need to do, food for thought, improving your mental health, and that's for kids and adults, the 7 keys of brain health factors we've been reviewing, along with hydration and watching your outside environment along with your inside environment, and the brain supplements. There's 7 of them, friends. Each one of them are good as gold and will get you back to feeling good again.
Our guest has been Karen Masterson-Cook. We simply ran out of time. Karen's a regular contributor to the show, and Aloe Life is a sponsor of Here's to Your Health, and their Aloe Life products are, in my opinion, the best of the aloe vera products on the market, and I'm a big fan of aloe vera. And this is Josh Lane. You're listening to Here's to Your Health. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after these important messages. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health with Joshua Lane. If you have any questions about the guests or topics discussed tonight, please give us a call at 818-707-0005. That number is 818-707-0005. This is Josh Lane. On behalf of the cast and crew, I would like to wish you a healthy and safe good evening.